It's been about 6 years since Your Name came out, and I remember watching that movie, I think in like 2018, and thinking to myself, this is probably one of the best movies I've ever watched. And for a long time, it was actually my favorite movie until I watched Parasite. But up to that point, it was by far one of the greatest things I've ever watched. And the reason I bring it up is because I see clips of it so much. How many times have you seen that clip of like on inspirational Instagram where the guy is looking out the window and it's night, or he's on the balcony, or actually wait, none of these descriptors is nearly enough to describe the scene because these scenes are so vibrant and expressive. But what I mean to say is that I see so much of the movie in the 10 years that it's been since it's been released. But what I want to talk about in this video, and what I feel when I even see these small clips of it, past knowing that I watched it like 8 years ago, is what happens in my chest while I see these clips, and what happened more potently while I was watching the movie itself, and for a while after. And the feeling is hard to name. Part of it was something like longing, part of it is something like grief, part of it is something like being woken up. And I've been sitting with that feeling and trying to understand it. And what I've landed on is this, which is what this video is, why I made it. I think great stories, great films, great books, great art of any kind, they do something to you that nothing else really can. They reach into a part of you that your regular daily life doesn't have access to. And if you let them, and this is the part I want to talk about, the letting, they actually change you. I think there's a version of consuming media that most people do most of the time, and it's totally passive. You watch something, you feel something while you're watching it, the credits roll, and then you just move on. You go back to your phone, you make a snack, you start the next episode, and I'm not judging that. I do it too. Not everything needs to be a transformative experience. Sometimes you just want to watch something and switch your brain off, and that's completely fine. But I think there's a different mode available, a mode that most people don't use nearly enough. And it's the mode where you actually let the thing in, where you don't just observe it from a safe distance, but you actually allow it to move you, to make you feel things you weren't expecting to feel, to ask you questions you haven't been asking yourself, to hold up a mirror to something in your own life that you've been walking past without looking at. And the difference between these two modes of watching or reading versus, or listening is enormous. Like, the same film can be background noise or it can be genuinely life-altering, and the only variable is whether you showed up to it with your walls down. Here's what I think actually happens when a story really gets you. Because Your Name at your core, and for you, this could be a different movie. It could be The Lion King, it could be Moana, it could be Cars 3, I don't know. But these movies at your core affect you in ways because you relate to their message, or you relate to a character, or you feel deeply personal about something that has happened in the movie that is so tied to your life. For me, Your Name is about longing for something you can't quite name at its core. And it's about this feeling of missing someone or something without being able to fully explain what it is. The characters can't remember each other's names, but they can feel it. The absence of something they can't even identify. And the whole film is about chasing that feeling towards something real. And when I was watching it, I kept feeling this thing that I recognized but couldn't immediately place. And then I realized that this is what it feels like to be aware that time is passing. This is what it feels like to know that something you love is temporary, that people are temporary, that versions of your life are temporary, and that you will forget more than you think you will, and that forgetting is one of the saddest and most human things there is. And the film didn't tell me that. It didn't lecture me about it, but it just built this world and these characters and this story and put me inside it. And then the feeling arrived on its own, organically, like something I'd always known but hadn't felt in a long time. And that's what a great story does. It doesn't give you information, it gives you experience. It puts you inside a feeling that your own life maybe hasn't put you inside yet, or hasn't put you inside recently enough. And that is genuinely one of the most valuable things available to a human being. Like, that's not a small thing. It's enormous. There's this concept in psychology, and I'm not going to pretend I remember the exact term, but it's the idea that fiction builds empathy in a way that almost nothing else does. Because when you're inside a story, when you're genuinely inside it, you are living inside another person's perspective. You are feeling what they feel. You are wanting what they want. You are afraid of what they're afraid of. And your brain, on some level at least, doesn't fully distinguish between that and a real experience. Like the emotional response you have to a fictional character going through something is real. That feeling is real. The thing it teaches you about your nervous system, about what that experience feels like, that's real too. Which means every story you actually let in is expanding your emotional range. It's teaching you how more of life feels before you've had to live all of it. It's giving you access to grief and joy and longing and courage and all the rest of it in a compressed, safe way that still registers. It's not escapism, or it's not just escapism at least. It's actually one of the most efficient ways to grow as a person. But the thing I keep coming back to, and it's the part I think matters most, is you have to be open to it. You have to be willing to be changed. And I think a lot of people, and I've definitely been this person, which is why I'm trying to make this video, approach things with this subtle defensiveness. Like there's this invisible armor that goes up, and you watch something or read something and you're sort of evaluating it the whole time. Is this good? Does this make sense? Would I recognize this? Or would I recommend this? And the whole time you're running this critical commentary in your head, you are not actually inside the experience. You are watching yourself have the experience from one step removed. And that distance is exactly what keeps it from landing. The willingness to just go, to let the thing take you somewhere, to not grip the armor and just actually be present for what the story is trying to do to you. That's the skill. And I think it's a real skill. And it sounds passive, but it's actually one of the more active and difficult things you can do, because it requires you to lower your guard completely, to trust the thing you're watching or reading enough to actually be affected by it. And when you do that, the rewards are just disproportionate. You come out the other side of a film or a book that you actually let in, and you are genuinely different. Not dramatically different, not like your whole personality shifted, but something moved, something settled, something that was vague became a little more clear. And you have felt this before. If you think back about the first book that you ever read that you liked, or your favorite film when you were a kid, you liked those things because they made you feel in a way that nothing else could make you feel. No other book, made you as excited, and or no other film made you laugh as much. And the reason those things felt the way that they were is because your kid self let you feel those things. They let in that media. And I also want to say something about the way stories make you present, because I think this is underrated. We talk a lot about mindfulness and being present and all of that, and there are all these practices and techniques around it, and they work, some of them, but I think one of the most natural and effortless ways to be completely present is to be inside a story that has you, like genuinely has you. When your name hit that moment, and if you've seen it, you know the moment, I was not thinking about anything else. I was not on my phone. I was not running through my to-do list. I was not anywhere except exactly there in that scene, feeling exactly what the film wanted me to feel. And that state, that complete absorption, is something outside yourself. Is actually really rare and really valuable, because in that state, you're not anxious about the future or stuck in the past. You're just in it, fully alive to one thing. Great stories are one of the few reliable ways to get there. And then also, I want to maybe end this by saying that there's something worth saying at what you do after, because I don't think the experience ends when the credits roll or when you close the book. I think what matters is whether you carry something out with you, whether you let the feeling linger instead of immediately replacing it with the next thing, whether you sit with whatever question the story left you with, whether you let it change even one small thing about how you're moving through your own life. For me, with Your Name, it was something about paying attention to the people I have right now, because the whole film is about the tragedy of connection that almost didn't happen, about how fragile the thread between people is, about how memory fades and time moves and you can lose someone, or the version of your life that you had them in it, faster and more completely than you think. And I walked away from it more aware of that, more awake to it. And that's not nothing. That's the film doing exactly what the best art is supposed to do. It's supposed to send you back to your own life, seeing it a little more clearly. So let things change you. Watch the film, read the book, listen to the album all the way through. And when something hits, don't move away from it, but sit on it. Let it ask you something. You don't have to have the answer. Just don't close the door before it can get in.